Today, I decided to have a heart to heart conversation with you, and it has to do with the origins of people pleasing. You might be wondering why people seem to take advantage of you all the time. Not advantage like physically, but advantage of your generosity because you're the one always reaching out, or you're the one always saying yes to everything. You're the one always helping others, always available. So, it comes also with kind of like this feeling of, "Ugh, should I keep doing that? Why do I feel this way after I've said yes for the 100th time to that person and stuff?" So if you feel that way, if you have a challenge saying no, if you feel that you don't want to disappoint people ever, this video is for you. And I'm going to share with you part of my story, but also the story that might resemble yours or other people's stories, because I've had discussions with many people pleasers and we all have something in common. And this is why you should stay in this video, because I will reveal to you something that might be shocking and that you never thought of, that you have to work on yourself and see, like, if that shifts, how you become that recovering people pleaser instead of staying that people pleaser. So my name is Fabienne, and I created this channel, What Feeds You Defines You, to help you become more conscious and intentional about what your mind, body, and soul consume. And not far out as yesterday, I was having a conversation with a friend, and we were discussing about exactly that, about how it's easy for us to go back to old patterns of being the person who everyone counts on. So the person who ties it up with your, let's say if there's a conflict between two people, then they count on you to help do some mediation, or solve the problem. Or if you have to go do an errand and everyone seems to be busier than you, then they'll ask you to go do it and you will accept, um, and all that stuff. I feel like it might come from something that's way back, probably in childhood. If I think about myself, I'm sure this is where it came from, because I was the type of kid who never wanted to take too much space. And I didn't want to upset my parents, never. And so I would do whatever I had to do. So to avoid the conflicts, to avoid the discussions, and to just be the most invisible possible, right? And so I remember that this followed me until high school, or even later than that. I would be sometimes at social gatherings and people would not even notice that I was around. And to me, it was kind of a win, because I was like, oh, I'm so discreet that people don't even notice that I'm around. And so it's as if like I was hiding. This is how I interpret it today, um, in the name of giving space to many other people. If I think about friendships that I had in the past, or even relationships, all the focus was always on the other person. And I would have no problem just forgetting about my own needs in order to satisfy other people's needs and other people's expectations and other people whatsoever. So I would make these stories in my head of, okay, if I don't do this, what would be the consequence? What would that person say? What would that person think about me? And how would that affect the relationship? Instead of staying true to myself and wondering, like, okay, so yeah, I don't do it, but what are the consequences of that? How will that person treat me in the future? Because again, let's say that people pleasing is not something that you are a victim of. You are part of the reason why this keeps going. And most of the time, it's because you have not trained enough people how to treat you. So when you say yes all the time, when you're available 24/7, when you always please the other person, well, of course, this is what they expect from you. And of course, they're going to be dissatisfied or disappointed in you if you don't do as they say, because that's how you trained them to do it. And so I feel like the first step to even consider being on the other side of people pleasing and being a recovering people pleaser is definitely set your boundaries and set them straight and expect that the other person is going to be shocked. Expect that the other person is going to be mad or disappointed or sad about the fact that you said no and that you set clear boundaries. Because again, if you are, let's say, always the person who says yes and always pleasant to everyone, then I don't know. I don't feel like at a certain point, the 100% respect that you deserve, that you're going to get it, because people will feel that they could do whatever they want with you. And to me, like, what struck the most, I think it was I had an hypnosis session with an amazing life coach. And I was telling her how I felt like I didn't belong, or I felt like I was hiding from something, or I felt like I didn't know who I was, what I aimed to become, what I wanted to achieve, and stuff like that. And during that session, I remember that her asking me a ton of questions, and it led to me saying during my hypnosis, I am nothing. Can you imagine the the weight of this affirmation within my whole body and my own mind, conscious and subconscious mind? So in my head, I was nothing. So basically, to me, it felt like it made a lot of sense that I would consider everybody else way before myself, because I was nothing. And I remember that when I said it, and right after when we spoke about it, I started laughing. I started laughing because I was like, oh my God, all this time I thought that I was nobody, that I didn't deserve to be respected or deserved to be cherished or loved or, spoiled or any type of positive things. And that's definitely why in in my life I had the tendency to put everybody else before myself. And so the big thing that I wanted to get to inside of this video is that sometimes it doesn't have to do with you not wanting to set your boundaries, but you have to go deeper than that and see if it's you not considering yourself as someone worthy enough to get all that love, or to get all those presents, or to get all those pleasant and loving relationships. And is it also at the bottom because you have a problem loving yourself for who you are? And I realized in my situation that this was part of the problem, the fact that I had issues or challenges to unconditionally love myself. And this has been quite a journey, because self love has to do with establishing boundaries. It has to do with clearing your environment from negativity, from toxic people, from toxic relationships, from things that don't feel aligned anymore. Self love is also something that has to do with digging deep into what I truly love, who I truly am, what I value in my life, what are my qualities, what are my flaws, what do I desire in life, where do I want to go, who I want to influence, who I want to be surrounded with, what's my purpose? All these questions, all of these questions. And at first, I remember that it felt like very unsettling, or kind of like in a very blurrish, wondering like where to start from, because when all your life you've been accustomed to please everyone else, then it's as if like it dims really the person that you are, and you don't even know who that person is at a certain point because you're too much um inside of other people's universes, um you're not wondering like what's best for you. You always think about other people instead. And so I remember that when I was still a people pleaser, I would be offended when people would say, "You've changed. I don't recognize you. Why don't you accept this?" Or "Why didn't you say yes?" Or "Why aren't you coming?" Or "Why aren't you doing this for me?" and stuff. I would feel sad because of other people's reactions. But then if that happens in your life right now, it means it's because you're on the right path. You're finally setting your boundaries. You're finally honoring the person that you are and the needs that you do need in order to reconnect with your true self and definitely know what you want and what you value and what you want to accomplish in your life and what's your purpose and how to shine the best possible. And unfortunately, I feel like this people pleasing that I was doing and was probably part of the stress, the kind of like constant stress I was feeling on my shoulders, because I felt like a lot of relationships around me, sometimes with friends, sometimes it was with family, it relied on me or it was on my shoulders to fix things, because I was a fixer. I would fix everything. I would not love conflict at all. I would really try to make things better um in many situations, while sometimes like I didn't really have to take this responsibility, right? And all of that in the name of people pleasing. And so the big message of this video today is to question yourself on, first of all, how do you consider yourself? Do you respect yourself? Do you consider yourself as worthy enough to deserve what you want in this life? Because remember, like everyone was born the same and everyone is leaving this planet the same. And so we all have the right to exist, to shine, to be happy. And it's just a matter of you embracing it. But to embrace it fully, yes, you have to recognize the flaws. And yes, you have to dig deep. And yes, you have to feel that discomfort, that very intense discomfort sometimes, not feeling great about the journey or the growth. But guess what? Like, it's impossible to grow if you don't sit in that discomfort, if you don't dare to attack and tackle this deep long work. Because yeah, it's a lifetime thing. I'm not perfect. I say that I'm a recovering people pleaser, but sometimes creeps back in and I catch myself. And I'm like, oh my god, no, I'm trying to do it again. um, I have to set my boundaries and I have to consider myself first, because again, I'm worthy of it. And I love myself for who I am. So if I tell you that, and if you say to yourself, I love myself for who I am, do you strongly feel it? Do you sincerely feel it? And if you don't, dig, dig deeper, ask yourself those questions, seek out some help, reach out to a coach, reach out to a therapist, reach out to whoever you trust that could help you navigate this. Because if you're not doing the work on yourself, And if you don't intend to actually grow and express that gem, that unique gem that you are, then think about all the other people that you will not impact the best way possible because you would want to settle into your old, comfortable, people pleasing ways. Whew, yeah. So think about this. Do you want to still stay a people pleaser, or you want to slide on the other side and be a recovering people pleaser and someone who embraces themselves fully for who they are? I really wish you the best into that quest, and I invite you to comment below where you're at in that journey. And let's support each other in this, because I know there are many people experiencing this, many, too many people experiencing this. And you're doing a disservice to yourself when you don't consider yourself, because you're part of this planet too, and you deserve to be heard, to be loved, to be respected, and to shine your light the brightest possible. So that's my message for today. I'll see you in the next video.